Bruce, I know you always say it's too early to tell, but 9 games is a good sample size. What are you most satisfied with this run?
Well, it was. This is one of the few times we've been behind in a game, with exception obviously to the Seattle game, and I think it was good to see the character of the team come back and win the game. And I give Austin a lot of credit. They played extremely hard in that first half, and they were tough to play against. And the first half we had some chances we probably should have converted. And the second half, we played well. It wasn't easy. They pushed us real hard, and now it's going to be challenging for us to get ready for our game on Saturday.
Next question, go ahead, Marco.
Bruce, was that then the message then patience preached at halftime, knowing you guys dominated in that first half and that the goals were going to come in that second half?
Basically, a few things we could have done a little bit better. I told them we needed to get a few more crosses in front of the goal and be more aggressive running in the penalty area. And we accomplished that on a couple of plays. But it was, I think if we were smart and didn't concede anything in the first 15 minutes of the second half, we were going to position ourselves to win the game.
Robert?
It was an early mistake, but it did lead to the goal, and some teams might have hung their heads on that. What is about this team that you see they're having to fight back to make up for Vieira's mistake?
Just a good group, and I think our two older players, we probably have 3 old players on the field in terms of Daniel in the goals, probably, I think he's 31, Timo's 30, and Vieira, I think, is only 27, 28. But to have that experience on the field is important. I thought Timo, from the opening minute, was terrific on the night, and it gives up players a lot of confidence. And then all the guys, they play well. Our center back pairing is doing extremely well. Jack Jasinski, for his first MLS start, did well and obviously scored an important goal for us. So a lot of good things tonight, for sure.
Harold?
You mentioned Jack. What led to that decision to give him the start, and then, how would you evaluate?
I'm sorry, what was the first?
What led you to start Jack?
Well, we wanted to rest Benji. He's a little banged up. So, Jack's been our backup right back since the start of preseason. And, he played well last week in the Open Cup game. Was it last week, the Open Cup game? Yeah. And had a goal in that game as well. So, that's one of the strengths of our team. We have anyone who goes down, the next guy's ready to play. And I think we're going to see on Saturday that we're probably going to have to make a number of changes in that game.
Devin?
Bruce, this is the 4th consecutive game where the team has scored 3 or more goals. Does this have anything to do with last year's tie on goal difference with RSL and making it to the playoff? Do you think the players are giving it their all in order to...
No, no one's even aware of that. I mean, you're the first one that even presented that concept. I mean, that doesn't concern us at all.
Go ahead.
Bruce, just what was said in the locker room at halftime? 5 goals in the second half. Just what was the message to your guys?
Well, I thought I stated that we can't concede in the first 15 minutes. We've got to play a little quicker. We've got to switch the point of attack, and we've got to get more numbers in the penalty area on crosses.
Ricardo?
Given Nico Sekiri's excellent current form, do you think it will be enough for him to make Pochettino's World Cup squad?
He's asking if...
No, I think that ship has sailed in terms of having it. International soccer is a different animal, and players need experience. He hasn't played senior international soccer. He will. My guess is he will play in the next World Cup, though.
Eric and Brian?
Coach, through this sample size of games, what stands out to you more at this point? The fact that you have only given up 3 goals to this run games, or the fact that the team is showing resiliency as they did tonight and being able to come back after what looked like a little bit of a bumpy first half?
Well, I think winning games is a starting point. We won 9 games last year. We have 8 now. Hopefully, we can pass 9, and that remains to be seen. But just the consistency of our team. Obviously, we're a better team defensively this year. Last year, we just made so many foolish errors and conceded goals. But obviously, we have a better team this year. They work for each other. As I stated, our veteran players are our leaders, and they're doing a good job, and they set the tone. Ronnie's been great as a captain. Daniel he's had a couple of difficult years here as a goalkeeper, and now he's being rewarded for his hard work, and you know that's a positive as well. And Timo's a wonderful addition to the team. And then the young guys, you know, I can start in a bunch of places. I call Booty young. He's 25. He's not necessarily young, but Nico at 20 and Benji at 22. Ricketts is 22. Reed is 22. You know, so those are some young guys. Jack's probably 22. You know, so we've probably cut our starting lineup down by about 5 years from last year. So, you know, they're being young. They haven't formed any bad habits yet, and hopefully they won't. And that's been a positive. So I attribute it simply that they grind it out. They work hard every day, and they like each other.
Well, Brian, Alyssa, then Paul.
There's one thing that I keep coming back to about this team every time I watch them go down a goal, and it's happened 3 times this year, is the patience. They don't seem to be chasing the game.
3 times. At Seattle tonight, and what was the other one?
Seattle, Kansas City, and tonight.
Kansas City.
And we're down by 1. But
Is that last week?
No,
When was that?
no,
Kansas City away.
away, against Kansas City. We were down 1.
Right. Okay.
But they never seem to be chasing the game. How are you helping them control
Well,
that?
we
How are you getting them?
we are forcing the game when we're down a goal.
Yeah.
We're being pretty aggressive. Even in the game we lost against Seattle, we were very aggressive. Seattle game, we could have scored a number of goals. So we are aggressive. But so to answer your question, I probably missed what you're saying there.
Well, I mean, it doesn't seem like they're overly aggressively chasing the game to put themselves in.
No,
that
but
situation.
we're being aggressive, but they also understand that there's plenty of time left in the game, and the most important thing is when you're down a goal, not to be down 2 goals. So we've been able to accomplish that so far.
We talked a little bit about Jasinski's goal tonight, but making his MLS debut, can you tell us a little bit about your read of his defensive side of his game tonight?
He's been good, you know, and he's been a great kid since day 1 here, and yeah, I'm an Ivy Leaguer, but I could never go to Princeton and graduate. He hasn't graduated yet; he has a semester left. But I've been amazed at his work ethic and his passion to play, and all of that. And you know, he's been solid in both ends, and you know, obviously his last 2 games he scored goals. But he's a good player. He loves to play. He's obviously a smart kid. He's a good athlete. He's physically, he's got great size for a right back. So it's a positive. I thought, you know, I know his coaching in college. I actually probably coached his coach in we used to call it ODP, Olympic Development Programs. And Jimmy Barlow is a really bright guy, and I knew that anybody that plays for Jimmy at the collegiate level is going to be a smart soccer player. And Jack is, and I can attribute a lot of that to his coaching at Princeton.
Paul?
Paula Maruri, Tentenay, San Francisco, California. 9 goals in the last 2 games. You are now on top of the MLS. Do you still feel this group is chasing another level?
What do you mean by that, chasing another level?
Besides the points, you think there's improvement?
Well, we have to improve. If we don't improve, we're probably going to be a team that's scrambling to make the playoffs. So the goal here is to continue to work to get better, and we need to be patient. You know, this is not going to be one of these things. You know, there's going to be a few peaks and valleys along the way, and we've got to be prepared for that. But if we continue to work hard and learn from our mistakes, and you know, I think we can be a good team for the second half of the season. First half of the season, at some point you can throw out the window. It's all gonna come down to the second half of the season. So it's great to have a good start, but again, it's a grind. What are we, 9 games in now?
Yep.
So we have another, 25 games left? There's a lot of soccer to be played. And so, we're really pleased with the group to date, but this is a long haul, and, we gotta be prepared for not only the good days, but some of the days that aren't so good.
There's questions in here, okay. We'll try to make it quick. Kevin, Marco, Robert, Devin, then we're done. Go ahead.
Bruce, a lot of teams talk about wanting to play draft picks, homegrowns, you're doing it. Are there any keys that you try to keep in mind to have them be prepared for this moment and actually perform?
Are there any keys to have them prepared for? Well, last year, the guys got beat up, some of them, to position them to where they are today. We're not a club that has the resources of Inter Miami or LAFC or some of the bigger spending clubs in the league. So we have to rely on some kids making it as homegrowns, some making it as college draft choices, and trying to hopefully be shrewd about the way we build a roster with international players or through the league and trades. That's kind of our formula. We don't have the luxury to try to go out and get players of the caliber of Lionel Messi, to be honest with you. So our formula's a little different, and fair enough. We're not surprised by it. We know what we have to do.
Bruce, you mentioned after Timo's first game, it was going to take him about a month and a half to get to 90-minute game shape. The way he's been flying up and down the field these last 2 games, you say he's there?
Well, I think the recovery is going to tell a lot. I still think he needs another month before he really hits form, and then we have a break. So it's gonna be challenging, but he's off to a good start for sure.
Robert, Devin, we'll call.
Yeah, Kevin's question about the different avenues in which you've been able to get players on the field, and then you're telling a story about kind of knowing Jack's coach and how that helped you. I mean, that seems to me to be a competitive advantage you and your staff have, to be able to find those kind of guys that maybe other coaches, other organizations aren't looking for.
That's one way of looking at it. I'm not. If you gave me a little bit more money, that wouldn't hurt either.
We saw your LA teams do pretty well at some of your college.
Well, when I was at the LA Galaxy, we weren't exactly crying for resources. We had a few good players there. Yeah, it's a lot of different ways to skin a cat.
I mean, it's something San Jose has had success in the past. I mean, even going back to the most recent trophy-winning team, the 2012 team, had a lot of influence from the college players.
The team that lost to LA Galaxy.
The team that lost to your LA Galaxy. Yes,
Okay.
I remember that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was a recipe that worked then, and you're showing it can work again.
Well, the league's changing. The league's a heck of a lot better. After this World Cup, it's probably going to be really interesting to see the new players that come into the league. It's a grown league. It's actually it's becoming a fantastic story now. After many years of struggling, I think the next 5 years are going to be tremendous for this league. I really do.
Devin, last question.
Halfway through the second half, the supporters group started leading a chant with your name, and the fans caught on. Did you hear any of those chants, and how did you feel about that?
I did hear it, but usually I hear it with a few other words associated with it. And it might have been muffled, so I didn't hear it that clearly, but I've heard people yell my name from the stands before. Sometimes they're good, and most times it wasn't good. So it's nice to hear a little bit of positive talk tonight.